Good evening, Northern Colorado. This is Ron, K0AZA. I'm located in Fort Collins, and I'll be net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. I think we all know what we're here for. We're here to talk about technical topics. If you've got a technical subject that you'd like to talk about when we do check-in, please let me know, and I will call on you. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergencies or priority traffic. If you need to use the system for an emergency during the net, say break and give your call sign. We'll acknowledge you and suspend the net until you advise that you're clear. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? We'll take check-ins for the purpose of counting participation, and no checkout is required. And it's open to everybody. NCARC club membership is encouraged, but never required for participation. We'll do check-ins in groups of 3, so I'll take the first group of 3 and then acknowledge it, and then move on to the next group of 3. Let's start off with Echolink. Anyone on Echolink, please call now.
Kilo Echo Zero, Yankee Bravo Kilo. Eric, checking in.
Yeah, it was Kilo Echo Zero, Yankee Bravo Kilo, I believe you said. First name is Kirk. Where are you located?
Yeah, the personal is Eric. I'm on Echolink. I'm actually in Wellington, but I don't have access to my radio, so I'm checking in on Echolink.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. You sound fine. All right, let's go ahead and move on with call suffixes alpha through Mike. When you give your call sign, please give it first alphabetically, then again with the ITU phonetic alphabet. And if you could also give me your name and location. Alpha through Mike, please call now.
WA9FBO, Whiskey Alpha 9, Foxtrot, Bravo Oscar, Bob in the port. Good evening, Rob.
KF0ODD, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Delta Delta, call from Bertha.
W0LEI, Whiskey 0, Lima Echo India, Chad from Stout.
BYU, that's Kilo 9, Bravo Yankee 4,
November 0, Mike Romeo Delta, MRD, Bertha, Colorado, name's Bill.
Let's hold up there for a second. That acknowledges WA9FBO, KM0ODD, W0LEI, K9BYU, and N0MRD. Next group of 3, please go now.
This is N0EMP, Greg in Fort Collins with 1 item.
This is Foxtrot 0, Golf Quebec India, Doc in Pierce, no traffic.
AE0BB, Alpha Echo 0, Bravo Victor, Sherman and Loveland.
Kilo 5.
Okay, let's hold up there.
KF0GQH, Canton, Wellington, with 1 topic.
Okay, let's hold up there for a second. That acknowledges N0EMP, KF0GQI, AE0BV, and KF0GQH with a topic. Next group of 3, go now.
This is K3SAD, Kilo 3, Sierra Alpha Delta, with K0DDE, which is a weird turn of events. Back to that.
KF0OCG, Fade, 4 times.
Okay, I've got K3SAD. George, was that the person you're with, K0DBE? Did I hear that correctly?
I was being facetious. Greg always checks in with his wife, so I drew in that she was with me for some reason. That was totally fictional. Sorry about that.
Yeah, my brain's running too slow to catch it. All right, very good. And so we'll go ahead and acknowledge K3SAD and KF0OTG. Hi, Dave. Next group of 3, go ahead.
WB5TEX, Whiskey Bravo 5, Tango Echo X-Ray, Dale in Loveland.
AE00, Alpha Echo 0, Charlie Foxtrot, Ben, Fort Collins.
And it acknowledges WB5TEX and AE0CF. There was somebody before WB5TEX, but I just got a carrier and no audio. If you could come back now, please.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Quebec Mike Papa, KF0, QMP, Hockey in Longmont.
KF0 QMP, got it. Let's go ahead and open it up to Alpha through Zulu. Alpha through Zulu, please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Romeo Hotel Alpha, Chris in 7.
This is Kilo Bravo 0 Yankee Delta November, KB0YDN, Eric, Pinewood Springs, or Pinewood Lake, no traffic.
This is N0NYY, November 0, November Yankee, Bart in Evans. I am with N0QXQ, November 0, Quebec, X-ray Quebec, and I have a question for the net.
Okay, let's hold up there. I've got KF0RHA, KB0YDN, N0NYY, and N0QXQ. Next group, go ahead now.
This is K5SGC, Kilo 5 Sierra Golf Charlie, Dave in Fort Collins.
Whiskey 8 Lima, WW8L, Tim in Fort Collins.
Whiskey 1 Victor Alpha November, W1VAN, Ivan in Fort Collins.
Let's hold up there. And then that acknowledges K5SGC, WW8L, and W1VAN. Next group of three, go now.
This is Kilo 0 Lima Echo Echo, K0LEE, Lee in Greeley.
N0BNK, November 0 Bravo, November Kilo, Rick in Laporte.
And then that acknowledges K0LEE and N0BNK. Hi, Rick. Let's go ahead and move on, and I'll come back around and take any late check-ins since it sounds like it's slowing down. N0EMP, Greg, you had a topic.
Thanks, Ron. More of an announcement on the for sale list for Mike Ring's estate. It's under for sale items on the NCARC's new webpage at ncarc.co. I haven't changed the price on the listing yet. I need to get access and take a lot of stuff off that has sold, but the Yaesu 991A base transceiver is still available. We've reduced the price on that from $1,000 to $800. Also, it comes with a Heil foot switch and a KOSS headset boom mic arrangement. That radio is full power on HF at 6 meters, 100 watts. It also does 2 meters and 70 centimeters. I believe 50 watts on both 2 meters and 70 centimeters. And it's all mode. AM, FM, upper lower sideband, CW, digital, data, all that. So prices come down to $800. And N0 EMP.
Thanks, Greg. Man, with those accessories, that's a heck of a deal. Did you have anything else for us, Greg?
Negative.
Okay, KF0 GQH, you had something for us?
KF0 GQH, I have a question on a random wire. Currently have a random wire antenna on a vinyl fence running about 65 feet, 6 foot off the ground. If I move and the fence that I have at my new house has metal poles, how far away from the metal pole do I need to put the antenna so I don't interfere?
EMP.
This is K0AZA, net control for tonight's NCARC TechNet. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, if If the poles or the metal parts of the fence are only vertical poles, there's no horizontal top rail, that's metal. If it's just vertical metal poles and your wire across the top, of course, is horizontal, there won't be a lot of problem there. Being 4 inches away would be nice. If you have a metal top rail, that's going to be extremely strange, and you might need to look at a different solution. You can try it, but you're going to have real weird interaction. And 0 EMP.
GQH, follow up. The metal pole extends above the fence about 6 inches, so be no problem if I just keep it, say, 4 to 6 inches away from the metal pole running horizontally.
You affirm that shouldn't be a problem.
Thank you. KF0GQH, back to net.
Anybody else have anything they wanted to add to this topic for Kent?
Go
ahead, Bart.
TSC, Tractor Supply Company, and Murdoch's, not sponsors of this station, have electric fence standoffs. They have them in 4 and 6 inch lengths. They're yellow plastic. They're designed to screw into a wooden pole, but they have interesting little hooks on the bottoms or on one end, and they will space your wire. They have holders in the end to space the wire either 4 or 6 inches away from whatever fence they're installed on, and they're very, very cheap. I bought a bag of like 50 of them for one of my antennas, and then discovered that 4 to 6 inches from a wet wooden fence is not enough. Whenever the fence got wet, the antenna just totally lost it, went to some other planet or something, and 0 in my mind.
GQH, follow through.
Go ahead, Ken.
Curious about what you did to take care of the wet fence.
I took the antenna down because it was raining a lot, and I ended up putting a dipole up in the backyard on 8-foot PVC poles, and it worked fairly well. I couldn't get the length I wanted from before, but like I said, if it had been 3 or 4 days of hot and dry, the antenna worked fairly well. But as soon as that antenna got wet, it took it 2 or 3 more days to dry out, and I couldn't even tune it. I mean, it was just atrocious. And that wire was these are the 6-inch standoffs. That wire was 6 inches away from the fence, but it just made a terrible mess of things.
Yeah, this fence is in Texas, and it does rain a lot down there. It's worrisome.
Well, do the best you can, and I never tried spacing the wire further, like a foot or 2, which I could have made standoffs to do that, but I just moved it to the middle of the yard and made it, put it up a little bit higher and ran 3 PVC pipes. Primarily, it was designed to be an NVIS antenna. It still got me to the East Coast from Colorado. But if the wet wood becomes a problem, put it up on PVC poles, put it 8 or 10 feet away, and you should have far less issues and 0 NYY.
And 0 NYY, thank you very much, GQH.
Anybody else have anything to add to this topic? Okay, we'll move on. Before we get to the next one, let's take any late check-ins. Anybody that didn't have a chance to check in at the start of the net, please go ahead and check in now.
This is Alpha Echo 3, Tango Bravo, Tom in Wellington, AE3TV.
Now, last check-in, I believe, was Kilo 5 Whiskey Victor Golf. However, your audio was real light. Could you come back with your name, please? I didn't catch it.
Yes, Ron. Handle here is Mike. Mary Ida King, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. That was better. And AE3PB, I got you, Tom. Thank you. Any other check-ins? Okay, let's move on then. Bart, N0NYY, you had a topic?
I did. I was wondering if anyone on this evening has any personal experience, not web research, thank you, I'm with Delta Loop antennas.
Hey, Bart, M0EMP. If you get a hold of Terry, W0ESP, he uses Delta Loop antennas on transmit in his ionosomes.
Roger, roger. I will fire him a message. Thank you very much.
Yeah, M0EMP.
Bart, if I'm not overstepping my bounds, can you tell us what you're thinking about doing with it?
Making radio contacts. Smart aleck, sorry. I had one years and years and years ago back in Pennsylvania, and I think it was designed, if I remember right, for 20 meters, and I think because it was an upward pointing triangle and fed at a bottom corner, I was told it was probably horizontally polarized, and that was a lot of years ago, and I don't remember much about it at all, and I have an email for the guy that helped me build it, and I will send him an email as well, but they offered pretty broad bandwidth, didn't really use a Fallon, but the one I had was ladder line feed, and the ladder line ran through an aluminum window frame, which it turned out is not a good idea. So it needed to go to coax outside the window before it came in, and I never got to try that. But just looking for experience with the Delta Loops.
Interesting, thank you. Anyone have anything additional to add to this topic? This is K0AZA, Net Control for the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Weekly TechNet. Are there any other late check-ins, additional comments, questions, or other discussion before we close the net?
KF0 LDS, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Lima Delta Sierra, Normal and Nyquist,
W1VAN with a comment.
KF0LDS, I've got you checked in. Thanks, Normal. Ivan, go ahead.
Thanks, Dave, WD0HDR, and myself, W1VAN. We have a Kiwi SDR, HF receiver that you can log into on the computer under kiwi.com or something like that, kiwifdr.com. Anyway, our receive antenna, we're presently using a end-fed, about a 40-foot piece of wire going somewhat vertical, and it receives like crap. It receives everything. Any ideas on a noise attenuator, something to get it to sound great?
Anybody got any input for Ivan?
W1VAN M0EMP, that's up at Horsetooth, right at the, amongst other repeater sites.
It's out in LaSalle, out at the platform tower that we have out there. So we have it going from about the ground elevation up tied off about 40 feet, somewhat in a vertical fashion, and then fed type of antenna wire. But it receives too much. It doesn't receive well.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what the noise is like out there, but I know up at Horsetooth there's just a ton of RF, so you'd have a real problem at Horsetooth. I don't know what the LaSalle environment's like. Some of the amplified loop antennas work pretty good, especially if there's one particular direction noise is coming from. You can kind of turn the loop to cut out, null out the noise. Those are kind of pricey. The ones that are still available are. I don't know what else might work for you there. I imagine you want to cover the whole HF spectrum, so I think you're going to have a challenge there in M0EMP.
Yeah, we might try an actual commercial antenna next and see what that does. Right now it's kind of a homebrew type of end-fed wire. But it receives everything. And check it out if you want, KiwiFDR.com. You can experience it off of the map there and zoom right in. They used to have one up there, Risk Canyon. I forget who had it, but man, they receive really well. And if you're doing an EHF, you can send in this KiwiFDR and an area that you're trying to look to transmit towards, you can tune in these SDR radios and see if you're making the trip in that location. And another little word of wisdom, suffered a fall here about a month ago, and work-related, but still, nonetheless, whenever your feet leave the ground, make sure you're well tied off to the structure, and the structure is able to support a yanking load against it. So in my case, neither. I didn't check the ladder out very well, and I wasn't tied off, of course, climbing up a ladder. And I fell about 24 feet, and it hurts a lot. And I'm walking, but I'm not dancing. So just a word of wisdom out there, whenever your feet leave the ground, make sure that you realize what you're doing and that you're got your safety equipment in hand and do it properly. W1VA and back to net.
Thank you, Ivan. Very sound advice, sir. You had to go through that, though. Anybody else have anything to add to this topic? Any other topics, questions, comments this evening?
Yes, baby.
Go ahead, George.
Before I get too deep into it, how do I sound?
Yeah, to my ear, it sounded a bit muffled, but why don't you come back one more time?
Just wanted to make sure I had to repeat it. The other night, I was on HF 7200 some odd megahertz, and I noticed whenever I tuned into a strong signal that I wanted to listen to, there was a buzzing like electric clippers. Any ideas as to what that interference was? Is it something on my end, or was it just out in the ether, or any thoughts on that? K3SAD.
W1VA.
Go ahead, Ivan. And George, you sounded fine that time. I think it was just my ears. Go ahead, Ivan.
Well, these LED bulbs that we recently got here are a known noisemaker, and they can resonate at a certain frequency. Along with, of course, remember the fluorescent bulbs and the incandescent bulbs. They all had a piece of wire in there that do that also. But check out your power box there. Shut everything off in the area, or maybe in your neighbor's. Notice if there's a light on at your neighbor's house exactly the same time you're receiving that interference. Could be the culprit right there. But it's probably in your vicinity, if not in your own household there. This Wi-Fi stuff that comes out of the router and over the Cat5 cables is another culprit that will radiate at a certain frequency. So you just got to narrow it down. W1VAN.
This is K3SAD. I did notice that it only tuned in basically right with the speech I was listening to that was coming in like 20 over. And then when I drifted away from it, it wasn't there. So I thought maybe the two were related. I didn't know if that was an indicator or not.
It could be just that your squelch is opening up at that certain frequency and allowing the interference to come in also. Otherwise, maybe it's attenuating it either with a side tone or some other fashion. I know you said it was HF, so, yeah, you just have to do the process of elimination and until you spot it.
Okay, thanks for that. K3SAD, back to that.
Anybody else have any questions or topics for discussion?
This is Mike, K5, WBG. I've got a new gray line flagpole antenna, and Icon IC7300. I've got all the stuff I've never had any experience at all. I
like about a 60 cycle hum. Can you check your setup there real quick?
Yeah, Ron, I've got a handheld portable with a battery that's about to die, and so I had it in the charger. I pulled it out, but I've got a, if the battery will hold out here for me, I've got a new gray line flagpole antenna and an ICOM 7300. I can receive, but I can't transmit. Having some real issues with that. Really scratching my head, wondering if anybody's had any experience.
EMP.
Yeah, that sounded much better, Mike. And go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, there was a gentleman named Mike, I don't remember his call sign right now, that sent an email into NCARC, the general question email, and had exactly the situation. So I believe we have the same Mike here. He lives in Windsor. I looked up the call sign and it was a Windsor address. I sent 2 emails back to him. I've got a 7300 sitting right here. I sent 2 emails back to him from gregella53@gmail.com, and I've gotten a reply. So I don't know if the emails aren't going through or I'm going in his spam folder or something.
Yeah, Greg, thank you. I'm the guy, and my situation is I've been a ham since the 50s, but I've just cranked it back up again here after about 15, 20 years off the air. And so I'm looking for a little bit of help. I'm an 80-year-old guy that isn't as sharp as I used to be. But I'll check my spam folder, and I appreciate your sending those emails.
Yeah, if you have a pen and paper handy real quick, in case you're not seeing anything from me, it's GREGELLA and the digits 53, gregella53@gmail.com. If you didn't get my reply, send me a new email directly and we'll get together.
Oh, great news there, Greg. I appreciate that.
No problem. Back to you, Ron. I'm Zero EMP.
Thanks, Greg. Anybody else with anything?
This is K0LEE with a comment about the gray line vertical flagpole antenna.
Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
I did help a ham, a relatively new ham, put one of those up last year on his property. And I remember we were only able to get the tune on like 2 bands. I think it was like 17 and 20 meters. And according to all the advertising, we should tune up on everything. And I think he used a 1-to-1 Balun. It's actually an off-center fed vertical dipole. There's about, I think, one section at the bottom that is half of the off-center, and then maybe 4 or 5 elements or 4 or 5 sections above that are the other half of it. And they had recommended a very expensive 1,500 watt Balun, a 1-to-1 Balun, and that did not work very well. So we started experimenting with different Baluns. And he doesn't run an amplifier, so we were just working with 200 watt Baluns. And I think he eventually got something that would allow him to tune it on just about every band. His call sign is KF0KEO, and you might want to email him to see what he did in order to get this thing working. But it was kind of disappointing because it's a very expensive antenna, and it's very good if you're in an area that has an H or whatever it is, the places that restrict what you can put up because it looks just like a flagpole. But it was a challenge to get it to work, and he finally did get it to be able to tune on multiple HF bands. So with I'll pass it back to Ned. This is K0LEE.
Yeah, K0LDE, K5WVG. that's exactly my situation. It is a flagpole antenna. It's only 16 feet. I've got the ferrite chokes on it at the feed point, and I also have a polyphaser, and then I've got the LDG RT 100 and the RC 100 to tune it. So have had no luck with it. I mean, I'm just dead in the water. I'm so frustrated. I've never had a rig that I couldn't transmit on. But a lot of water under the bridge since the last time I was on HF. K5WVG.
Okay.
W1BA.
I recommend you talk with Chris. His name is Chris Michael, and his call sign is KF0KEO. And he's gone round and round with the company and so forth. And I think he eventually found one of the LDG balance that made it work well enough that he could tune it on all the bands it was capable of. And with that, I'll pass it back over to Net. This is K0LEE.
Thanks, Lee. Ivan, did you have a comment?
I did, but I didn't want to step on everybody there, so I shut up for a moment. But anyway, what we did here, I live in an HOA also, and those flex radios are quite the deal. Get a couple, 2 or 3, 4, 5 of you pull in your monies together and set up a superstation like we did out in Nunn. And we have a flex radio out there with the stepper vertical antenna. That thing is the dog, dude. It's a real nice station. The noise floor out there is really low. But I'm saying with maybe with several participants into the same radio, there's plenty of spare time that everybody seems to have a radio to work. And there's an idea for an HOA. You operate it off the computer, and it works great. We have one also up at Horsetooth there, strung across the guy wires, and like I said earlier, the noise floor up there is quite different than it is out in Nunn.
Yeah, thanks, Ivan. I'm kind of in the same boat. I've got an HOA, so I've loaded up my ring gutters, which work okay, but not fantastic. Any other questions or comments?
E0BV with a question.
BV, go ahead.
Yeah, there's on the Wednesday ClubNet, there's conflicting information on the website, so I wanted to get a clarification. It says 6:30 in the description, but then down in the calendar it has them all at 6 p.m., so I wonder which one is correct. Over.
Yeah, I can address that one for you. Joe does an early check-in at 6 o'clock, so it's just kind of an informal early check-in. It gives people a chance to chat a little bit, and then he usually takes a break about 20, 25 after, and then the formal net starts at 6:30. So if you're just interested in the business part, 6:30. If you are interested in a bit of a coffee clutch, then 6 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Any other questions, comments, topics? Okay, any late check-ins before we close the net? Hearing none, this concludes the NCARC TechNet. Net Control would like to thank each station for their participation. We had a great discussion tonight. We had a total of 28 check-ins tonight. This net will occur again next Monday at the same time on this repeater. This is K0AZA, closing the net at 1847 and returning the repeater to normal operation. 73, and good night, everyone.
This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. For more information, visit our website, ncarc.net. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.